Welcome back to the Triple Threat Podcast. My name is William Zell, and today we have a lot to cover because it's been a while. I was in Houston last week. Ishan had an accident. We won't get into that one, but anyways, let's get started. We got a lot to cover today. We got NFL news, NBA news, and Kanye news. All three of those things I think are pretty.
That's
exciting.
our triple threat.
Triple threat. we finally found the third.
NBA, NFL, and yay. That's all we need.
All right, so let's get started with the finals. We have not talked about it yet, but Bucks have won the first championship in 50 years thanks to a heroic performance from Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's get into this one, and let's talk about the Bucks first because they're the champions of the day. They won it all, and they deserve their plaudits because they went into a series that we thought they didn't have a particularly good chance in, considering the matchup they had, considering how well we thought the Suns roster was made, and how well they've been playing as a team. So that's about what they've done to win this finals. Players in particular have made a great impact, and just overall, this championship team.
Yeah, so first, hats off to Giannis, man. That was a crazy series, but Game 6, one of the best finals performances we've ever seen. And this is dating back to the 60s, 70s. That is an all-time great performance. That is the moment in a player's career that defines their legacy. That's one of those moments. And Giannis's 50 points, we're always going to remember him for that. So, first with the Bucks, a thing that we always talk about is you can't have one guy succeeding in the playoffs. Everyone needs to be clicking. And that's exactly what happened. Everyone clicked. Middleton played like a prime Kevin Durant. Drew Holiday locked up Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And then you had guys like Bobby Portis, Brooke Lopez, even guys off the bench like PJ Tucker, Brent Forbes just step up and note they knew their role and they perfectly played their role. They executed. And so everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone knew their role. Nobody was trying to be a hero. They were playing cohesively as a unit. And it wasn't just one to two guys stepping up. It was the whole team just elevating their performance from the conference finals to the finals. There was a noticeable difference in performance from guys like PJ Tucker and Bobby Portis going from the conference finals to the finals. And it's crazy. The Suns were up 2-0. We thought, oh, it was over. They won those first two games by a large margin. Convincingly large margin. And the Bucks finally just got together and rallied and had a hell of a series. So the Bucks definitely deserved it. They definitely have a championship-winning roster, obviously. And what's really interesting is Mike Budenholzer's job security was on the line. And even if they lost the finals, there was a chance that he could have been fired. Like, he got a lot of criticism for lack of adjustments, not elevating his coaching in the playoffs, and he finally came through and delivered. So as a Hawks fan that is very grateful for Mike Budenholzer and a guy that just loves Budenholzer as a coach and a person, I'm glad that his job security is now stable in Milwaukee.
Yeah, winning a championship is definitely going to do that for you. Someone who I really wanted to highlight in this series is going to be Pat Connaughton. He was exceptional. He made 15 threes on 34 attempts. Really impressive stuff right there. And, I mean, he shot, what was it, 44% from behind the arc? Like, he was incredibly impressive to watch. And, like, just think about, this doesn't sound right just saying this. I feel like my stats are wrong, but he only made one less three than Chris Middleton, which is, I mean, it sounds wrong, but...
It sounds wrong, but Chris Middleton also just had the little jab step contested Carmelo shot.
And it's when they happen, too. Just seeing Chris Middleton just go automatic in the fourth quarter, just closing the games out, was something that...
Chris Middleton's a top 10 player in the league.
I mean, in these playoffs for sure. What he did against the Hawks, I mean, you can't come back when Chris Middleton's making every single shot. He did that against the Hawks, did that against the Suns. I mean, incredibly impressive. Bobby Porter shot 43% from three as well. He was incredibly impressive in the paint. I mean, he put a headband on. He went crazy. So Hats off to him. Really revitalized himself.
Bobby,
I mean,
Bobby,
he made
Bobby.
every free throw. He was 100. He was 100%. So
Oh yeah, Giannis made all those free throws too.
I what is he 16 of 17 in the final game?
17, yeah, crazy.
I mean, and then what I love the most is seeing him in the parade take a 30-second free throw in the crowd, just acknowledging just the hilarity of the whole situation, making fun of himself, and being
I
able to
wish
do
my
that.
team.
Being able to do that is something that.
I wish my team won a championship so we could have a parade.
Well, let's talk about the Suns real quick because they have been. This is the topic of conversation. I see in our notes here it just says Devin Booker sold, and let's a little elaborate on that one real quick. So
Okay, okay. He didn't sell the. He didn't
no,
sell
no,
the.
he sold. I was gonna. I'm putting this fully on
Okay,
Devin Booker's
but
plate.
Devin Booker. It's not fully there. It's not fully Booker's fault. You can't place the blame, but games 5 and 6 for sure. Like I think Booker knows he's talented. Booker knows he is an elite shooting guard, top 5 shooting guard, and a guy that can get a bucket when he wants to. But playing iso ball in the finals like that, when you have arguably the best on-ball defensive guard in the league and Drew Holiday guarding you like that, it's just not going to work. You have guys like Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, Cam Payne to kick out to. You have the point guard to orchestrate your offense, and you're out here going, ooh, 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 I'm going to go take a contested floater, or I'm going to go take a contested mid-range jumper every time and brick it. Like, I can see one bad game in the finals from a guy this young and this inexperienced, but playing like that for 2 to 3 games when your team is on the brink of elimination is just not great. So I think Booker needs to learn that when you're in the finals, you can't be the hero. You have to just play the way you played leading up to the finals, make the necessary adjustments to account for the other team, but don't try to be the hero. Don't try to be the guy that wins the finals because you'll get the credit regardless. Just because you score 10 more points, but your team loses a game does not make you a better player. It makes you look worse. So being the hero, we saw guys like Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook do that early on in their careers. It really hindered them from winning meaningful playoff series. So hopefully Booker can learn from this.
Now I want to elaborate on that. Yeah, Booker scored most of the team, 28 points per game, but here's a stat that I find incredibly damning on what he did in the finals because this is a team no one averaged above 20 points in the regular season. They were team basketball.
This was literally the epitome of just team basketball, spreading it around, great depth. This was how they played. They played as a team. They played as a unit. They were better than the sum of their parts.
I don't know how much to blame on Monty Williams as well. I mean, he is the coach, so I can't blame this all on Booker. Maybe this is a coaching decision, but Booker was shooting 27% from three on 41 attempts in the finals. Now, that's bad, but let me tell you what the rest of the team shot. Chris Paul, 52%. Mikal Bridges, 43%. Jay Crowder, 41%. Cam Johnson, 44%. Even Cam Payne shot 36%.
Wait, from 3?
Yes.
Oh my god.
He had options that were shooting at a incredibly high clip. And he decided that his 27% three-point shot was a better team shot. Now, there's got to be some self-awareness at this point. You got to self-scout yourself and say, something's not going right. And not to mention, it's 121 defensive rating. I mean, just some really, really poor numbers. So, he just wasn't doing it. And the way they played basketball, it was Devin Booker, Chris Paul, dribble direct penetration, kick it out to the wings for an easy shot. They played a lot of pistol. I mean, they played some very, very good team basketball. And they completely got away from that Devin Booker ISO. And it killed him. It really killed him. The mid-range was not there. I mean, Booker was the most inefficient player on the team. He had the lowest field goal percentage by far. I mean, when Cam Payne's out shooting you in every category, it's something that's kind of an indictment on you as a player. The playmaking was not there at all. 4 assists per game, just something that Booker should be doing a lot more than Chris Paul at 8.2. I mean, you kind of expect an over with him, so I was disappointed in the least with Devin Booker. Offensive rating of 104. That was the lowest in the starting lineup, the lowest of anyone that played considerable minutes outside of campaign. So,
Yeah, when you look at win shares for 48 minutes just for the playoffs, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, Dario Saric, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, even guys like Torrey Craig, Campaign. Devin Booker is 12th on the team. This is supposed to be your best player. This is the guy that was one of the better. This is one of the better scorers in the league. This is a premier scorer, and he can't put the ball in the bucket, do his primary job, just not leading his team to wins. And his usage rate was so much higher than guys like CP3, Payne, Etwan Moore, and you saw guys like Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder. They are 14.1 and 13% usage rate. These are guys that should be getting the ball more. These are the guys that should be involved in more plays because they know their role. They can shoot the basketball, and they don't go around isoling elite defenders trying to be the hero. So I love Devin Booker a lot, but definitely not a great series. On a more positive note, let's talk about Giannis, man.
I mean, Giannis is incredible.
Is he a top 5 power forward of all time at this point? 2-time MVP, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year, basically been a top 10 player. He's been a top 10 player in the league since 2018, top 15 since 2017. He now has a championship finals MVP to his name, and he's only 26.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably number 5 in my opinion at this current state.
I'd put him at 5 too.
Because right now, he's not over Tim Duncan. He's not over Karl Malone.
No.
Barkley is debatable. He's not over Dirk, not even close.
He's not over Garnett either.
He's not over Garnett. So, I mean, he's early in his career. He's early in his career, so for sure he's going to be able to take, I think, at least Karl Malone. I think he can take Karl Malone. He's already a 2-time MVP. He's already a Defensive Player of the Year. He's won a championship with Malone, never did. So I think that's something that he can easily overcome. Tim Duncan is insurpassable, but that's kind of the territory with Tim Duncan.
Yeah, like if you're moving into Tim Duncan territory, you're talking about top 7 to 10 of all time. But Giannis is definitely 5 in my opinion. I think he's past Charles Barkley. And I also think that he has the potential to move up to 2. And if he really just kicks it into another gear, spends 20 years in the league, he could be at 1. But that's going to be really hard to do because Duncan came in as an immediate contributor. Giannis took a couple years to develop. But man, God, I voice cracked there. That was not cool. But what a Game 6 performance. Just what a series from him. And I was rooting for the Suns. You were rooting for the Suns. But it was kind of hard not to be happy that Giannis won his ring. You know what I mean?
Well, I was I was a Suns fan, but I mean...
Because I'm a CP3 fan.
I'm a CP3 fan, but I'm also a Drew Holiday fan. So,
yeah.
I wasn't... The only reason I wanted CP3 to win is because he's got less opportunities to win than Drew Holiday. But
that's exactly why.
If we're talking New Orleans basketball, I'm taking Drew Holiday. He's been a better servant to the city. Not a better player, but a better servant. I mean, he was nothing but great things about the city. He helped the community out a lot.
I've never heard a bad thing about Drew Holiday.
Man, he's just one of the greatest guys.
Players, there was a player poll, I think in early 2020, and it was who's the most underrated player in the league. And I think Drew Holiday won by a 7 or 8% margin for underrated player in the league. And first of all, the players love him. The fans love him. The media loves him. The community loves him because he does so much. And the coaches have to love him. He seems like such a coachable player. He seems like a leader. Like, I don't know anyone that hates Drew Holiday.
Man, he shout out New Orleans for doing right by him, trading him to a championship contender.
Yeah.
I mean, New Orleans has done right by their players. As much as JJ Redick wants to malign them for saying they didn't care about sending him to a championship contender, I mean, they sent Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, a team who won championships
They
in their
sent
first
their
year.
two best players from the Anthony Davis era to two championship winning teams.
Yeah, so I love him. I'm super happy for him. I'll always have my Drew Holiday jersey, so I hope he comes back one day to the city. We always love him. He'd be welcome any day. So I could see him ending his career in New Orleans.
Yeah, that would be nice. The one last season, kind of a farewell tour.
But a funny thing on the topic of New Orleans is that New Orleans wanted to draft Giannis. Dell Demps was a big Giannis fan. And they were going to move up to 13 to draft Giannis. But what they instead did is they traded their first round pick to get Drew Holiday.
That was a Nerlens Noel pick.
So New Orleans traded away Giannis for Drew Holiday. I think it's kind of funny how those things
That's
kind
kind of
worked
funny.
out. So,
Because they wanted to keep they wanted to make AD happy as fast as possible. And Giannis was a project.
yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest. Like, he was viewed as a project coming into the league. But the project paid off, and Giannis finally got his ring. And seeing him at the Chick-fil-A drive-thru ordering 50 McNuggets.
I didn't think you could order 50 chicken minis. I mean, I didn't know that was a thing you could do. Like,
I think they come in packs of 40. So maybe a 40 and a 10-pack. But just seeing Giannis, like, go around the championship ring, or going around with the trophy, asking, hey, get it, passing out cigars. That was just, Giannis is such a wholesome dude. You know what I mean? Like,
he really
I would
is.
love, out of all the players in the league, I would love to have lunch with Giannis or Klay Thompson. One of the two.
Or Kawhi.
Or Kawhi. I think Giannis and Klay are the two funniest players in the league.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Bucks' future. Does this mean that Giannis is going to stay? He's now done his thing. He won a championship. He can stay in Milwaukee as long as he likes, and there'll be no more pressure on him. Or is he going to be LeBron? I won a chip. Now let's go on to bigger and better things. Well, he won a chip in Cleveland and left a different story, but similar
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I think Giannis will end up staying in Milwaukee. He said he's against the whole super team thing. He just wanted to build his own thing in Milwaukee. And I think he wants to stay there. The city loves him. There's no reason for him to leave. There was no reason for Kawhi to leave Toronto, to be completely honest with you. And I think I get it. Middleton and Holiday are a little bit on the older side, but
Well, mainly Holiday. I think
Mainly Holiday.
Middleton's like
Middleton.
27, 28.
he's like 30,
No, he's young. He just looks old.
29, damn. Well,
I was off, but I was close-ish.
we were right in the middle. 29, I said 30, you said 28. But I think let the trio kind of ride out till the end of Holiday's career, the end of Middleton's career. And if there is sustained success, if there are consistent conference finals or finals berths, stay in Milwaukee. But maybe after the contract is up in, when is it? 2024, I think.
Sounds about right. It was a 5 year
20,
deal, I think.
2024, 2025, whenever his contract is up around then, and they haven't had success and he's unhappy, he can leave. But there's really no reason for him to leave, in my opinion. I think you have your team, you have the city that loves you. Everybody is in Milwaukee. He moved his whole family there. It would make sense. And his brother plays for the team too. So
Yeah,
This
I think
will-
this is a total Dirk move. Dirk won a championship, stayed loyal to his city. I think that's kind of the model he wants to win. I kind of wants to be. And I know Dirk's not regarded as one of the top 3 power forwards, even though I think he is. I think he's number 2 in my opinion. I love Dirk.
you have him too. Wow.
I love Dirk. That championship ring that he won in 2011.
Yeah, I have him at 3 or 4.
I
'Cause
mean,
I have
that
one
is.
out KG2.
Oh, KG2. I mean, I can see that.
Yeah.
Usually you see Karl Malone at 2, so I don't know. I love Dirk. But anyways, I think that's going to be the model he sticks with. I don't think they're going to win another championship with this roster just because of the aging core. And they don't have any assets going forward. They have
Yeah, I realistically don't think they'll win another title, especially given that Brooklyn is going to be healthy next year.
They've got 3 first-round picks to New Orleans, a couple of pick swaps. they're not going to have a pick inside the top 20 in the next couple of years. And they're not a desirable free agent asset, free agent destination, with three players taking up pretty much the entire salary cap. They're not going to have a lot of players want to come for
Small
them.
market. It's small market team.
Small market. It's going to be ring chasers coming to Milwaukee, and that's pretty much it. So
Yeah.
it's going to be hard for them to win another championship. But just like this year, anything can happen. Circumstances can change. If you're the healthiest team at the end of the year, I mean, anyone can win. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not Detroit, but most teams can. Like the Hawks could have won it this year.
Yeah.
So if the ball bounces the right way, Milwaukee has another chance. But realistically, with this core, they're not gonna have too many cracks at it. But Giannis is an incredible player, and just like Dirk, he can lead a team by himself to a championship, and I wouldn't be surprised if he could do that again.
Yeah. Just very impressive. So let's talk a little bit more basketball. Before we get into some trade rumors, let's talk about USA basketball because they dropped another L to France. And I get it. You have Gobert, there's Fournier, there's
No, I don't get it. No. Do not try and justify
How
it.
do you have Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Jason Tatum and still drop games like this? It was pathetic.
Their
And-
backup should win this game. Realistically, I don't hear any excuses. There's no excuses to losing to a team that's worse than you.
The best player on the court for Team USA was Drew Holiday 3 days after winning a championship.
And taking
Drew
a
Holiday's still
20-hour
probably-
flight.
Yeah, Drew Holiday's jet lag probably still has a little bit of champagne in the system. And he goes out there and drops 18. And Kevin Durant can't do that? Oh my God.
All right, so
So-
let's be a little bit more rational here. So let's talk about this team and why they are completely awful at basketball. We said this before. It's a different style of basketball. It is just there isn't that same national pride representing the U.S. in the Olympics. It's more of a chore than it is a patriotic duty to them. It's
Yeah.
all right, let's go win gold, put it on my resume for the Hall of Fame. All right, cool, move on. All right, next year, let's go. They're using this as the time to wine and dine, recruit players for their team. This isn't the same experience that those players have. Like, this is Evan Fournier's, Nicholas Batum's. Like, this is their time to represent their country, to show what they can do because they don't have that same opportunity to be a star, to be a first or second option in the U.S.
Look at what Manu Ginobili did.
Exactly. I mean, Rudy Gobert is someone who can be easily schemed out of any playoff game with 2 seconds of coaching. This is the best coach of all time, and well, second best, Coach K, obviously. Only one loss with the national team, so
Yeah.
But best NBA coach of all time, and no, best current NBA coach of all time.
I'd say Greg is. But I think
Really
over Phil?
over Phil? Nah, Phil's gotta be the best of all time.
I think, yes, I get it, but another thing that I look at is their coaching tree. And
No, Bill Belichick coaching tree is garbage. He's the best coach in the league, best coach of all time. So no,
Wait, who?
Bill Belichick. His coaching tree is terrible, miserable. It's just
And also, like, Popovich was not only the coach, but the president of operations. He's like it's like a manager in soccer almost. He was their manager.
well, managers they don't do all the transfer stuff. There's a lot of others.
There are a lot of other-
Anyways,
But-
back to USA basketball.
I will say this team, we've said it before, I've said it, and we have an article coming up about this, like 6 or 7 reasons why USA basketball is struggling, so stay tuned for that. I'll drop it tonight or tomorrow. But this is a poorly constructed roster. And then you want to have Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, and Draymond Green play in the Spurs offense. You want Kevin Durant playing in the Spurs offense because that's what's going on. Greg Popovich is using the Spurs offense. The players are pissed off because Kevin Durant can't drop a 30 bomb in consistently in the Spurs offense. Like, it's not an offense geared for this kind of star power, this level of score first players. And if they wanted to do that, they should have constructed the roster better. Get a better playmaker like a Trae Young, top 3 playmaker in the league, in my opinion. Get some more big guys that can eat up the paint. Because Bam Adebayo is good, he's just undersized. So JaVale McGee was a step in the right direction, but I'm pretty sure you can find better rim protectors than JaVale McGee.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope to God he can. But now that I think of it, most good centers are international. We'll touch on that later. But
Yeah, fair, fair.
because Adebayo could have played for Nigeria, that means the top five, six, seven centers, like the best American center, if you exclude Adebayo, is
Well, you could say Anthony Davis is the center.
ignore 80. Oh, okay, yeah, fine, 80. So 80 could represent the team, but he was struggling. And
He's
I
movie
count
star now.
Cat is Dominican in my opinion.
True,
But
true. He also doesn't play defense. He would not be a good fit on this team.
no, he would be a bad fit. But guys like like you can't
They could have brought
have
Miles Turner.
Miles Turner, good option. But what I'm saying is you can't have three score first point guards, Zach LaVine or Jason Tatum in, and then you have Kevin Durant. You have only one elite defender in Adebayo there, or yes, you have two. You have Draymond, and then you like who's gonna grab the rebounds? No one's a good rebounder there, and rebounding is extremely important in a more grit and grindy hustle type of basketball that's played on the international stage. I just think that there's so many flaws with this construction, and then you're putting it all through the Spurs offensive system. It's a recipe for failure, and we should have seen this coming a lot earlier.
Honestly, I hope the U.S. lose the next game if they're out of medal contention already because there needs to be a wake up call.
Exactly.
The U.S. needs to be held accountable for what they've done to this basketball franchise because this is the highest honor. This should not be taken as a chore. Like this is representing your country on the national stage. Like this should be like all these smaller nations take pride in that.
Yeah, and I think what's crazier is you're gonna see guys, and we've seen this already a lot. You're gonna see guys that want to go play for different countries because they don't want to be in the USA basketball system. They don't want to. First of all, they might not get a chance to play, and second of all, they want to go to a country that actually cares. Precious Achua, for example, he's from the U.S. His parents are Nigerian. He wants to go represent Nigeria. Josh Okogie. I know he was born in Nigeria, but he grew up in the U.S. He wants to go back represent his home country, Nigeria. And that makes a lot of sense. You have so many talented players that are either foreign born or have parents that are foreign born that are eligible to play for other countries. And if you can't win with all of this talent, it makes no sense for them to come and be with you. They want to be with their home countries. They want to be the guy. They want to put their country on their back. They want to make their people proud. And if you're part of USA basketball, as of right now, it's not really the case. So,
All right, I got something for you. What would be your ideal construction for a starting five for this U.S. national team? Because I think this would be a pretty interesting conversation.
okay. So let's see. I'm gonna look at the guys that were eligible as well. So I think that number one is I'd like Trae Young at point guard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you need a guy that can make plays, that can be your orchestrator, that can be your offensive orchestrator. Because like Chris Paul, he's great, but I don't think he wanted to represent his country. You want to do it. Trae really, really wanted to do it. He was really bummed that he didn't make it, and I was confused why he didn't make it. So I think Trae would be a great number one there. For my shooting guard, I'm just looking at this list here. You could go with more of a scorer, but I think you want a better two-way kind of guy. For example, Jaylen Brown, a guy that always hustles, always plays with a lot of grit, and can play defense too. He's an option. I think Chris Middleton could even be an option, but I'd consider him a forward. And I think even Drew Holiday could be an option here. He's a guy that does everything decently well and would be a really good glue guy. I think small forward, it's fairly obvious. There's only one real choice here, and that's Kevin Durant, best player in the world. you got to have that one star representing you, and that's what KD would do. And then for my two big men, this could be interesting. I feel like Adebayo has the ability to play power forward, and he's done it multiple times. He has the size, he has the length, he has the athleticism to play power forward, the quickness. And then for center, I'm gonna go with Anthony Davis because I'm assuming everyone's healthy. So Trey Young, Jalen Brown, um, Kevin Durant, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis. I think that could be a really, really good starting five. They play well off of each other, and they have the grittiness, they have the qualities that it takes to win international basketball.
All right, I'm gonna have a little bit of a different take. Point guard. I'm gonna use the 57 finalists that the U.S. had. Steph Curry would be fun and all, but I don't think that international basketball is gonna be where he thrives. Uh, my two options. I'm thinking of Malcolm Brogdon and Drew Holiday.
Yeah, or actually replace Jalen Brown with Drew Holiday for me.
All right,
Holiday at the two.
so I'm gonna knock Drew Holiday at the one. I'm putting Jimmy Butler at the two.
Jimmy, yes.
He is perfect for international basketball. Just grit out the, just grit. That's all he is.
You're great. That's all you need.
I'm gonna put Chris Middleton at the three, cause I mean, just Chris Middleton. At the four, I want Zion. Just big guy. He plays with grit. What international player is gonna be able to put him up in the post? Who?
Nobody.
Who?
Nobody. No one's gonna do any of that.
And then
We're afraid of him.
at the five, I want Anthony Davis. I mean, it is. Tell me who's going to beat that lineup. It is the grittiest. It is the biggest. It is the most intimidating lineup. I mean, maybe not Anthony Davis, but like he's a little bit more like physically menacing than mentally. But Zion, Drew Holiday, Butler. I mean, that is some tenacious basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
And then put in like Kyle Lowry and
Kyle Lowry would be great for international basketball. He was a guy I was considering too.
man. So you don't even need the best players to have the best team.
I can see a guy like Montrezl Harrell even thriving here too. I've never liked him as an NBA player, but I feel like he could be interesting too.
Donovan Mitchell, man, I forgot Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell, yeah.
He would be
I was
fun.
looking over the Wikipedia page and I realized, man, I forgot Donovan Mitchell. But you know what's crazy? Kyle Kuzma was in the running too.
Paul George, man,
Paul George.
that is disrespectful. All of this is disrespectful.
Wait, Kawhi Leonard too.
Well,
Oh my
that's
God, Kawhi.
he can't play. I saw that, but he can't play. So
Yeah, but he still wasn't named to the. Oh man,
that is ridiculous. I'll cheer me.
it's a violation. That's a
Eric
whole.
Gordon, Jarrett Allen. I mean,
Like I know for a fact Kawhi Leonard would be. Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, is a top four player in the league.
top three. I mean, easily.
Ooh, LeBron. So that
KD
means
won. Just
either LeBron,
KD's
LeBron, Durant. So I have Durant at one. So you have him over LeBron or Curry?
I think it's
I have
KD
Durant,
one.
Curry, LeBron. I have LeBron at three.
He's easily better than Braun right now.
Actually, you're right.
I mean, that's just not even a question. Right now, I mean, Braun is a great player, but he's not
He
Kawhi
wanted the
Leonard.
Looney Tunes over his country. Think about that. Dude decided to represent Bugs Bunny over 300 million people. Over.
I mean, the movie was filmed. Like all he wanted to do was just stand around and say, "Look at my movie. It's a good movie. You should watch it." 31% Rotten. I watch. It's a good children's movie. I don't know if people hate it so much.
I think, I think it's just that it's the nostalgia. Like it's all the old heads that hate it.
It's the same concept as the first movie,
Yeah, it's easy.
except they actually animated LeBron, which I thought that was a brilliant taste. You don't see his terrible acting, because MJ and LeBron are not actors. So
No.
being a voice actor is a lot easier.
MJ is it's like a Robert De Niro.
I mean, they're both not great, but when they're animated, it's a lot easier to make them good actors.
That's why LeBron's animated in all the Sprite commercials.
Exactly. Also doesn't want to like be flown out. He's doing work, so voice recording is a lot easier.
Yeah. But moving on to some trades, because we have a lot of star players that are on the trade block. Bradley Beal trade request for a potential draft night trade. I think my top two destinations for him are the Knicks, who are in desperate need of a score and have guys like RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin that have good trade value. They also have some picks to throw in. Porter Jr. I think he's a great player, but if you're the Nuggets, Bradley Beal will elevate your team to a whole nother level. And trading away Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, throw in some picks, throw in another role player like a Monte Morris for Bradley Beal would be great for the Nuggets. So I think the Beal to the Nuggets trade is probably my top destination for him, or for where I want him to be.
There's a couple other options where I could see him going. I mean, I'd love to see him go to Indiana. I mean, I don't know how much it would take him to go to Indiana, but I feel like that team, like if you paired him with Brogdon and Sabonis, I mean, I feel like you could build a really, really good team out of those three. And I don't think
they have a good team. They just can't stay healthy.
And they've been a top 4 team with that core. So if they give up LeVert, they give up Jared Allen, maybe some picks, I think you could get the deal done. I don't know, it wouldn't be the most flashy destination, but I feel like if you paired that backcourt of Brogdon and Beal would be really good. Because it'd be both great shooters, and Brogdon's defense could really carry.
Brogdon's playmaking too. He's an excellent playmaker.
So I think that pairing would be really excellent. Some other options I could see. New Orleans is an option I could see. It would cost too much for them. They wouldn't be a good team after the fact. I wouldn't give up Ingram in the trade, so you'd have to do a sign trade with Lonzo. Bring in a lot of the first-round picks they have, maybe 4 first-round picks. Paul George was 5 first-round picks plus SGA, who wasn't as known of a quantity at the time. So you give up Jackson Hayes, you give up Lonzo, maybe 4 firsts, and you could get that done.
Paul George is coming off the MVP caliber season.
Yeah, so I feel like you could get some 3 first-round picks, Lonzo sign and trade, and maybe Jackson Hayes or Nikhil. I'd prefer to keep Nikhil, but or even throw in Kyra Lewis. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
What about Bledsoe?
Who'd you say?
Bledsoe.
Man, that's just a granite to balance the salaries.
Yeah.
That just has to happen. And then you gotta consider a team like Dallas. I mean, I would love to see Beal and Luka together. Give up Tingus Pingus, and then get yourself a player that can actually play basketball.
Why was that so funny? Was it Michael Rappaport? That guy? That was hilarious.
I love that name so much.
If you see a video of Michael Rappaport in a New York subway, definitely watch that. I think you know what video I'm talking about. But God, you're getting red right now laughing.
It's so good.
But moving on, Ben Simmons, his top 5 destinations from around the league are apparently Cleveland, Indiana, Minnesota, Sacramento, and Toronto. Wow.
That is really bad.
That's a very odd situation to be in. And the 76ers definitely want more than what Cleveland, Indiana, Minnesota, Sacramento, Toronto can and will offer. So I find this interesting. So for Indiana, you're giving up Turner or Sabonis. That's what the package is based around. Because I think they're the team that can probably get the best offer. Maybe throw in like LeVert and a pick.
Honestly, keep LeVert.
Yeah, honestly, keep LeVert. Cleveland, so throw in like Jeremy Lamb to balance out the salary too. Mm-hmm. Cleveland, I don't know. It would be Sexton and Love to balance out the salary, or because Ben Simmons is a hefty contract.
I mean, Cleveland could absorb it. So if you look at the salary situation of these teams, this upcoming season, Cleveland is at 21st. So they're at 92. The luxury tax is at 130. They'd be well clear. Minnesota couldn't do it. They're the 5th highest. They're the 5th highest salary in the entire league. So that is.
And I don't know what Sacramento would do, to be honest with you.
Sacramento, they're at 17. They're at 100 million. They could.
I just mean like in terms of a trade.
Toronto could do it.
Toronto could, yeah. Toronto has pieces to give up too. Like they have pieces that are still valued fairly well, but would Sacramento have to give up De'Aaron, basically?
Um, but I don't know. I feel like Buddy Hield
De'Aaron's a
could be
better
a
player
pretty
this season.
appealing asset. I know his trade value is pretty low right now, but looking at what you're doing in the situation in Philly, uh, Fox transition basketball, you're not going to do that with Joel Embiid. I think
No.
you're going to ask for either Buddy Hield for a spot-up shooter or Tyrese Halliburton. So I feel like that would be your kind of your package that you'd be trying to get back in return.
Yeah. It's just a very odd team to be interested in Simmons, in my opinion.
I feel like if you could get Tyrese in two first, I would do it.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of Tyrese.
Oh, I'm talking about is the Sixers.
I know.
I would love that.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Tyrese is a perfect player for Philly. But another All Star or former All Star that is looking to be traded, Pascal Siakam,
Well, now he's not looking to be traded, but he is
or
being looked
he is
at for a
or
trade.
Toronto is looking to trade him. So Golden State, I really like the fit there. I think we had that in one of our mock drafts in the latest one, where they trade seven Wiseman and something else. I think Jordan Poole for Pascal Siakam. I think his value is a little bit lower than that, but even seven and Wiseman could be an interesting package there. What do you think about Siakam?
Oh, I love Siakam. I think his offensive potential is extraordinary.
I think it is. I think he's a great player.
I think he's a great fit in Golden State. I think he makes them a contending team. I feel like you could probably, if you could probably package some assets, you could get Siakam and Miles Turner, really complete the roster, just make a dominant team. I don't know about Turner's fit, but I feel like just having a shot blocking big that's proven that'd be quite cheap
It
as
can still
well.
space the floor. You know what I mean? Like
But all this
he
is dependent on cap because I mean the Warriors are at 161 million. I mean they are the highest in the league.
Thompson coming back, and then you have a ton of assets to throw in for both guys. So I think that could be interesting. Utah won three, so they can keep Mike Conley. So they're going to be trading away guys like Ingles, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Royce O'Neal. All three are very valuable, very valuable role players, especially Joe Ingles.
Especially Royce O'Neal, he played
And
exceptionally well.
lockdown defender right there. So I think all contenders could use some of these guys. They're just a great guy to have, low maintenance shooter defender type player to have on off the bench. So I think we'll see some better teams target Utah because they also want to give up their 30th pick potentially. So you can see a team that's out of the first round that's really good get a role player and get that 30th pick, select a guy like JT Thor. And then I saw a rumor Pelicans trade back. They want to give up Bledsoe to the Grizzlies. So what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not a big like I wouldn't do that if I were the Pelicans.
Uh, yeah. So the Pelicans' cap situation is not as dire as it might appear. Um, they've got three top earners. You got Adams at 18. You got Bledsoe at 17. You got Bi at 29. So, I mean, their cap situation is a lot more friendly than most teams. They've got a lot of cheap rookies. Um, I don't know why they're trying to clear cap so desperately. Uh, they must have something lined up because you have to bring a superstar in if you want to do something like this. Like if you don't have a Kawhi Leonard or Bradley Beal or Siakam, someone like that. I mean, those are really the only like elite players I could say maybe in this free agency and potentially in trade. Maybe even a John Collins, a Chris Paul. Chris Paul would be very nice back in New Orleans, but that is a big if he declines his player option and test free agency. So I don't know why they're clearing cap so desperately, trading it back, losing assets to get rid of a contract that, I mean, people still want Eric Bledsoe. I mean, he was bad last season, but he was not like, oh my
It's not a
God,
terrible
Solomon
player.
Hill. Solomon Hill when he was at the Pelicans, I mean, that was a negative asset for sure. But this contract's bad, but it's not something that's untradeable. So uh,
Yeah.
I would not give up these assets to potentially miss out on some really good prospects because you'd be going from Corey Kispert, Moody, Franz Wagner, Josh Giddey to more like
Chris Duarte.
Sharif Cooper and Chris Duarte. So
Yeah.
um, just it's a big gap in talent there and a big gap in trade assets. So um, would not be a fan of this trade if it were to go down. There's
Some
no
teams are a
reason to
little
clear
bit
cap.
lower on Kispert, so just keep that in mind.
Corey Kispert is at like consensus around 10 or 10 to 14. So
He's starting to slide a little bit.
so anyways, I think it's a big drop in talent. So
Yeah,
I
I think it is too.
wouldn't do it.
So moving on to the Rockets, they would like to trade up. They definitely have the draft capital to do so. They have Eric Gordon and pick 23. They want to package that for pick number 13. So you're moving into guys like Josh Giddey, Sharif Cooper, and guards there if they don't take Jalen Green. Or you get a big like Kai Jones, for example, if you go with Green at 2. So that's something interesting. They're also pushing, they're also really pushing the number 1 pick, but I don't think Detroit's going to budge. I think Cade Cunningham is their guy, but we'll see what the Rockets do because they definitely want to make a big splash, either get into the lottery for a second pick or get that number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I think it's I started my evaluation on Cade Cunningham, and yeah, I think there's a price that you would trade out with Houston. They have a lot of assets, a lot of picks from the Harden trade, so I think it's feasible what they could do. I mean, they got picked from the Westbrook trade as well, and those are some pretty valuable picks. So, I'd like to see what they could do, but yet again, they don't have any proven assets that they could really trade. They're not going to want Chris Wood back. I don't think they're going to want really anyone on that roster. So it's going to be a purely pick trade, and I don't think that's the right team to be trading into the top of the draft. So I couldn't see that getting done.
Yeah. And so we'll talk about this a little bit later, but just bring it up right now. Lowry and DeRozan, they want to team up in LA. What are your thoughts on this? Because these are two best friends. They got separated. One won a championship. One is stuck in San Antonio. And going back to DeRozan's hometown of LA, they're back together. They have LeBron AD. This would definitely make the Lakers one of the most dangerous teams in the league, give them a nice big 4. But I wonder how LA will do this from a cap situation and if it's really the best move because they're already fairly depleted on assets, especially from the AD trade and getting more win now players. I wonder if this is the right move.
I think they could do it. Just thinking about it. Yeah, they have 70 million tied up in LeBron and AD, so they don't have a ton of cap flexibility. But they package KCP and Kyle Kuzma, and they're pretty much back down to meet reasonable territory. Looking at, I mean, what's the biggest issue with this team is backcourt. I mean, where Lowry and DeRozan play, they play at the backcourt. So if they could bring DeRozan on a team-friendly deal around, what, he's on 27 now, go down to 15.
Yeah, around 15.
Then you
And
look at Lowry.
At its lowest.
I don't know what you would get for Lowry, especially since he's on a, what, 30? How much is he on per year?
31, I think. 31, 32.
So, he'd have to come down as well, but he is a free agent, so they could do it. They have the ability to team up. I mean, Braun is a pretty good convincer. I mean, I could see it get done. I think it'd be a pretty good deal, but I mean, you'd be putting a very, very heavy timestamp on that championship window because they're not getting any younger. They have a combined experience in the league of 27 years, DeRozan and Lowry combined. So, they're getting up there. So, how do you think that would pair? Because Lowry and DeRozan don't really space the floor that much.
Yeah, that's my issue here. I think Lowry's fine. Personally,
Yeah,
I
Lowry's
think
fine.
Lowry's great for the playoffs, but it's more DeRozan because what is the one thing that LeBron needs on this team? Shooters. That's why they're looking to trade Kuzma for Buddy Hield. And that's why they're gonna target shooters in the draft and free agency. But DeRozan is a shot creator. a guy that creates his own shot from the mid range, from drives, from penetration. He's not going to be. I don't know if I can see him being the third or fourth option on a team, and I can't really see him expanding his range. He's talked about it. He hasn't really delivered. So I just wonder how that fit's going to be in LA, and that's why I'm so reluctant on them teaming up in LA, even though it sounds great.
Yeah, a lot of things are better on paper than they are in actuality. So I think that you're gonna have to make a reasonable assumption of what is this gonna do for team chemistry and team fit. So I think Buddy Hield for Kyle Kuzma would be a great trade for them. I know Kuzma has been a 3-point shooter, but Buddy Hield is someone who can shoot 40%, and
Yeah.
getting that in, someone who can play catch and shoot would be a terrific for this team. Um, I think he can help this backcourt immediately. Would be much better than Dennis Schroeder, and just yeah. But I think that'd be a good start for this team. I think they got to do some Philadelphia moves like last offseason. I think everyone in the media said that Josh Richardson for Seth Curry was a bad trade in terms of value, and we said this in the podcast. Fit's better than value. So who's laughing? The Sixers, because they got one of the best shooters in the league,
Yeah,
and
and the
was a great contributor in the playoffs.
No, Seth Curry, I fear that man.
He was
He played like his brother.
he really did. He
He
really
played like
did.
his brother, exactly like his brother. But I think Heal for Kuzma is great. Another good thing for Kuzma, it's a new starting point. He's received a lot of hate in LA, to put it simply.
Well, I mean, it's been pretty deserved so
He's
far.
pretty deserving. I'd say Sacramento is better than Shanghai for him. But Kuzma definitely, he's going to be on a younger team. He's going to have a bigger role. He can get his confidence back up. Because when he's confident, he plays well. When he's unconfident, his role's not as big. There's definitely a dip in his production. So I think that would be great for him. And I think the last team we talk about before getting into some other topics is the Atlanta Hawks, because literally an hour ago, Jonathan Givony from Draft Express said that NBA executives say that they expect the Hawks to explore restarting the cycle of one of their rookie scale contract players, such as Cam Reddish, in exchange for a first round pick. So I think one team that we could trade with is OKC. They have pick 18 and they have trade exception as well, a lot of it. And they could use a guy like Cam Reddish who has a lot of potential. But I think this makes sense. We need to pay Trey. We need to pay Herter. We need to pay Hunter. We need to pay Okongwu. We need to pay all of these young guys. So getting one off of the books just frees up the cap situation and frees up some cap flexibility for the future. So I really do like this.
It's a shame seeing Cam Reddish go if this rumor is true, because he showed coming back off that injury what he could do in the playoffs. I mean, was very influential in those 3-4 games he played.
Yeah,
So
especially game six. He was keeping the team alive.
I think it'd be a shame for them to lose him, especially since he does have the higher upside of him and DeAndre Hunter. Um, that is just factual what he is as a talent. But it's gonna be hard to get there. They're gonna have to invest a lot of money in him, and they've got to pay Trey Young, they got to pay Collins, they got to pay Hunter. They're gonna have to pay a lot of players on Yeka coming up. So I think Yeka could also be a potential one that they could look to move on for a restarting of the cap cycle, because one,
Yeah, I like Onyeka a little bit better than Reddish, though. I will say that.
yeah. So I could see some other teams coming in for Cam Reddish, teams that really need a bit boomer bust kind of asset. Um, I mentioned these to you earlier. New Orleans, I think, also could do that trade. I think Oklahoma City could do it. Teams that really like boomer bust. Denver, an option always. I think you can have some championship teams. The Lakers, Clippers would both be pretty solid fits. Um, I think you could. There's a lot of interest. I think any team would be worth sending. I mean, Golden State at 14. I mean, if you're gonna trade Wiggins, you're gonna need a new small forward. Wouldn't be the worst option. He's gonna be pretty cheap for you coming up in the future. So
Yeah,
wouldn't be the worst. I think every team in the league would be interested in trading for Cam Reddish for a late round pick.
yeah. So I think that we could probably get somewhere around pick 17 or 18 for Reddish. And there are a lot of really good wings available, like Trey Murphy, for example, a guy I'm really high on. Even Zaire Williams, who reminds me a lot of Cam Reddish, being a top 10 recruit, struggling in college, but still having those tools and a little bit of production going for him. But let's quickly talk about some NFL things. We'll just briefly touch on this. Chandler Jones, pass rusher out of Arizona, has requested a trade. So Arizona was a very promising team, and we were definitely high on them, but their defense was lacking. And then you lose your best defensive player in Chandler Jones. It just sets up a very questionable future. Plus, I just don't think that Cliff Kingsbury is a head coach going forward. So, what are your thoughts on Arizona and Chandler Jones?
Uh, yeah. So my philosophy is pay him whatever you need because he was the premier pass rusher, arguably the second or first. He was a top five pass rusher in the league for like
Yeah, of
5 years
course.
in a row. So
Yeah,
they'd be remiss to let him walk. So keep him at all costs. He's currently upset with his contract situation. So pay the man some more money. Honestly,
yeah, he
you can get
definitely
it to
earned
work.
it.
You've got a quarterback and a rookie contract. He's earned the money. He definitely deserves it. So before we talk about his contract situation, let's talk about just how great he's been as a player, just in his career. He has been absolutely exceptional. So um, he had, I think, the most sacks, the most pressures of any defensive player over the past 5 years before last season when he got injured. So uh,
Yeah,
very impressive going just throughout his career. And then looking at, he had a PFF grade of 86 last season. I think he finished that year with around. Let me get the exact stats because I don't want to have anything wrong on that. So in 2019, he had 19 sacks, second in the league. Was first and fourth fumbles, had a 90 pass rush grade, was exceptional. 2018, 12 sacks. 2017, 17 sacks. 2016, 12 sacks again. 2015, he had I can't remember how many it was, but
he had
it's
2015,
13.
13, yeah. He's
Just
been a double-digit sack guy forever, and he's just in that 2019 season, 19 sacks. Who was first?
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald, of course. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald. But Aaron Donald was number one, but he was very close, not too far behind. 19 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, led the league, 5 passes defended. He can really do it all on the line. I get it. He's 31. He's definitely aging, coming off from an injury. Not always the best, but he is a producer. He's been a consistent producer, and he's just been one of the best and most consistent outside linebackers in the NFL. He's in that same tier as Khalil Mack and Von Miller, in my opinion, TJ Watt. So I think you definitely got to pay the man at this point.
so look at the Cardinals cap situation right now. They have 11 million in cap space. Just pay him 11 million more this season. He's on 15 million base salary. Just looking at the top edge rushers in the league, I think number one is Joey Bosa on 27. So just give him 10 million more this season. He's the number one paid guy in the league. So you have the money, make him happy. Not that hard. Get it done.
Yeah, definitely. Arizona is a very promising team, and they're in a tough division where there are some really, really electric offenses, whether it's Russell Wilson in Seattle, Matthew Stafford in LA, and Kyle Shanahan's absolute genius in San Francisco. You're looking at 3 potential top 10 offenses. So you definitely want to have someone putting pressure on the quarterback at all times.
And he and
So
JJ Watt could definitely do a great job
he and
at
JJ
that.
Watt can definitely do it. Yeah, you want to keep that pairing together. It seems like they already have some good chemistry. So the third part of the triple threat is Kanye West. So Donda got delayed till August 6th, apparently. I would not bank on him releasing Donda on August 6th. I was very disappointed to not have Donda, but it definitely seemed like an unfinished product. He made a makeshift studio in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He's been living there for the past 2 days,
He's gonna be living there
and
for a
he's
while.
he's been chilling there, finishing up. Apparently, there's a photo of Two Chains recording a verse, just like in Mercedes Benz, the day of the listening event.
Apparently,
So
Jay-Z recorded his verse at 4 p.m. that day.
yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens. But Jay-Z's an excellent freestyler.
True.
You know, he
I didn't. Yeah,
freestyled the whole Magna Carta Holy Grail album. It's
he
crazy.
he can do it. But
Not
anyways,
that
he's
guy.
gonna be living there until the album's done, so he might be there until December. So
Oh God.
money talks. I mean, what he's done at the stadium is ridiculous. He bought the stadium in a week advance, put on a performance that was interesting, to say the least.
You were there. I was not there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he was sleeping. I'm pretty sure that's why the concert was 2 hours late. That's what I've heard.
It's such a Kanye thing to do. Like
No one woke him up.
Kanye's if Kanye was actually sleeping and that's why he was late, that I don't expect anything less. Like there are some things that you just kind of know about a person, and that's something that Kanye would do.
My prevailing theory is that he wouldn't start until the arena was completely full, and it took all the way until 10 o'clock for that thing to get full. The concert was supposed to start at 10. I start at 8, into at 10, and that place took forever to fill up. I don't know what it was. It was just like any other event, like same number of tickets, same number of seats as any other event, but something about that night made lines incredibly long. Even though tickets were completely visual, there was no scanning going on once you're inside the stadium. Something made those lines 3 hours long. We had 3 hours straight of scanning a line in that wrapped around the concourse. So I don't know
You were
what.
scanning?
God, don't talk about it, man. It was visual, so it was.
I'm telling you, bro. I want to work there. So we'll be scanning. I'll keep you- like I'm
I mean, they're hiring. We definitely need more people in the Mercedes-Benz Club for sure.
okay. So we can talk after the episode about that. But that's something that I'll keep an eye out for.
So let's talk about the event. Let's talk about Donda. What we heard of Donda. So Kanye played 6 songs at his listening party, and let's settle this first. It was hard to tell them what the music was because, and I'm disappointed because Kanye's a producer. He should care about the integrity of his music. Every speaker was maxed out, and when you max a speaker, you lose a lot of definition. I didn't know Jay-Z was featuring until I got home. That's how bad it is. I was told Jay-Z was on a song, and I said, really? I was there. I know
Yeah.
what Jay-Z sounds like. I couldn't hear it. The only feature I knew that I heard was Pop Smoke because I heard that verse before, so
I think I saw some videos. The only one I could really hear was Travis Scott.
and no. I'll be clear. The videos make it sound 1,000 times better.
I
In
noticed
person,
Yeah.
it was inaudible. My phone, I will listen back to some of the stuff that I've like heard on like Twitter and stuff like that. You can actually hear stuff like that. That is good.
The video that you sent me, like I could hear Travis Scott. I'm like, oh yeah, that's Travis. He's
No,
floating.
I didn't know that. Like I could when I was in person. That's not what I heard.
That's crazy.
I
That
did
is
not
so
hear Travis
crazy.
Scott.
Because that's what everyone said. Every speaker was maxed out. It was impossible to hear. It was an experience, but I don't know if it was worth paying $100.
You couldn't pick up the 808 from the melody, from the counter melody, from the lyrics. It was something that was.
Wow.
I will say during sound checks and during the after he left, it was incredible. The first sound check came on, and I don't know what song it was because I don't have the track list, but I was like, oh my god, this is going to be incredible. It was so loud, you could hear every lyric. It was just like, it was one of those, you know how he had the, kind of like the vocalist, like doing spoken word.
Yeah.
It was one of the songs that had that leading up to it, and then the bass
And
came
when-
in,
whenever he
and
does
it
that-
was just like, wow, Kanye
Was
is
it like
back
was it
on
like
his grind.
was it like a dark fantasy moment? You know the song Dark Fantasy?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Like
it
that.
Was,
Oh my.
it was just wow. And then once he left, they turned the speakers down, and he played 3 songs after that, and I was just blown away with the production, the lyrics. Like maybe not the lyrics. I couldn't really tell the lyrics because only get to hear it once.
Kanye, like
But
Kanye's a producer first. Let's be honest. He's a producer before a rapper.
mhm.
The production is like just I think he's the greatest producer of all time. The whole soul sampling from the late registration, college dropout era, it's beautiful. Diamonds from Sierra Leone, my opinion, one of probably his best beat. Then you have the synth heavy graduation stadium style music. Then the auto tune on 808s. Then the grand and majestic beats on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy with Devil in a New Dress as the highlight there with a guitar solo. Watch of Thrones beats were good. Yeezus was a complete experiment, and it was an experiment that aged extremely well. Some really unique production there. He really pushed boundaries of rap music in Yeezus. Life of Pablo brought in some other producers, but Madlib and Metro Boomin never miss, so
No.
they're always great. And then even on Yay, I feel like it was a still a well produced album. Kids See Ghost of another well produced album. He didn't rap on it except for one song, but Daytona by Pusha T he produced, and like the comeback baby sample, just another great thing. If you don't know, I'm a big Kanye stan.
So
So
we'll be excited to see that drop. Can't give away a lot of instant information that I know because it's kind of how my job goes. But I knew all about Kanye living there, so it was a lot of chaos during the Mercedes-Benz game because I'm up at my stop. I get called down like our special guest is out and about. I'm like, oh, what's he doing? Like during our pre-game meeting, I was like, oh, Kanye's still here. He's working on the album. Like, oh, he's still in Atlanta. That's cool. Yeah, you might see him today. They set up the locker room. Like, what? Kanye? He's still at the stadium? Like when I heard that, like,
they
really?
have a private jet there, like booking for him.
It was
It's
so
crazy.
funny because they turn the whole place into a studio. It's money talks. He owns the place. So I was walking out from my job and I saw the auxiliary locker room. I see all the Columbus Crew players. I'm like, oh, you're not in your locker room because Kanye kicked you out. It was really funny because they were not supposed to be like. It's funny. It's just crazy. Kanye
Yeah,
owns the place.
that's a Kanye thing to do.
I'd love to say more, but
Keep
can't
it
can't as
confidential.
of now because I like my job. So I'd like to keep that. Thank you very much. But did you have the listening party? Did you listen to it on Apple Music?
No, no. I saw your videos, and then I saw some dude on Twitch streaming it from the Apple Music thing for like 15, 20 minutes, but I didn't listen to most of it because I wanted to listen to the fully mixed mastered version on Spotify, and then I didn't get that. And I sat there. It was 12:30 a.m. I'm like, he might drop at like 12:42 at some really arbitrary time. He didn't do it. So to close out the night, I listened to Soul Train by YB and Namir on complete repeat. And I got clowned by basically everybody that I was hyping up the album to for believing in Kanye. So it was not a very good night.
Yeah, I told her once 12 hit and the album didn't drop, it wasn't ready. I could have told you that. I mean, the whole event did not have any thought and preparation put into it. It was literally just Kanye standing there. And anyone who went and like I saw people on Twitter saying it was a masterpiece. It was one of the greatest events of all time. You enjoyed the experience because you
Yeah,
did not enjoy the performance because
the actual performance.
there was
No.
zero performance aspect to it. It was not like the Life of Pablo listening event at all. Because one, he didn't say a single word. He didn't have any performance aspect. He was the only one on the stage. The only thing they had was like 5 seconds of a projector go onto the field at one point. The rest of it was literally just him.
Just him standing around.
Just him standing. He took a knee a couple times. He walked around. But if you enjoyed the event, one, you weren't there, and two, because the Apple Music one, they actually had like the mix and master kind of music going on, so
Yeah.
you could hear it, so you had a better experience at home. And then if you're in the stadium, you would just enjoy the atmosphere. So I loved the event because I didn't pay any money. I got paid. I got time and a half as well. So I was loving life there. But different story.
Yeah, totally different story. So hopefully for all Kanye fans, including myself, yourself, we get the album on August 5th. Don't August
Six.
6th. 6th. Don't bank on anything.
Oh, and you want to hear how crazy Kanye is? My routine when I go to the stadium is uh, I work in the Mercedes-Benz Club, so it's the underground club above the 100 section.
Yeah.
Whatever I do, I come in, I check in, and I walk out onto the field, and I bask in like, wow, the serenity of how awesome this place is, because it is an experience walking out onto the field. So that's what I always do. So I step out, I look around, like, wow, this is the event. This is what they're gonna happen. This is what's gonna go on tonight. And I see my bosses walk behind me. I'm like, oh, what did I do? It's like, don't be out there. Kanye will yell at you if he sees you out there. If he sees you 3 seconds all on the field, he will have a fit. I'm like, oh, my apologies. I'm sorry. I
Imagine
was just trying to stay on the field for like 3 seconds.
high school kid ruins Kanye event, gets banished into rap's hell.
Like on the day before during a sound check, there was some guy walking like a couple 100 feet away in the tunnels, wasn't wearing all black. Kanye stopped the whole thing to have a fit about why he wasn't wearing all black. The next day, everyone working on field level, all of security changes their outfit. They're all wearing all black. They have to have
That's
all like money talks. So,
Yeah. Kanye threw that producers or who's I forgot who it was, maybe a rapper, but he threw someone's phone in Hawaii on the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy um production thing in 2010. Picked up their phone, just chucked it.
it's Kanye's way of the highway.
That's Kanye. But that wraps up today's episode. A lot of NBA talk, some NFL talk, good bit of Kanye talk. Always nice to have that. Stay tuned for a lot of Instagram, a lot of website, a lot of content ahead. And Thursday, 4 days from now, we will have our draft special where we'll be live streaming. You can see our reaction, and you can even call in and give your input and have a little conversation. So we'll definitely have that going. Stay tuned for that. And as always, I'm Ishan Cheth, alongside me, William Ezel, and that is episode number 49 of the Triple Thought Podcast. Peace.
Yeah, you have to leave like right